Please put live shuffle reaction in the corner. I don't have the image ready and I don't want to crop it and all that. It's just, it's too much to do right now. We'll do it next time. What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and today I present to you opinions. Oh, man. Yeah, let's go to 1080. And here's the third time. What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle, and today I present to you opinions. Woo! Darkest Dungeon opinions. After 500 hours and a completed Blood Moon run, I feel confident enough that I can actually say which heroes might be a little better than the others. Okay, so that was... Man, I hate when people do this now. I hate when people, like, qualify... or try and qualify their opinions, like, you know, I played the game a lot, I beat it, you know, I did this, so therefore I'm allowed to have an opinion. I look down on this so hard now, and here I am doing it. I feel kind of foolish, and for context, I made this when I had like 500 hours of playtime, and now I have over 1700, so I've like tripled what I've done so far, and my opinions changed quite a bit, so... But this is back when my channel had like 700 subscribers, so like I didn't know who would ever see this, right? Like who would see this, who would care? So this was kind of more like just something I made for myself than anything. Oh my god, Derp, why? I'm not even reading it. So the criteria that we're using is going to be, it's going to be vertical, obviously, so we have S through D. We're probably not going to use D, we're just going to start at C, because I don't... Then why not get rid of D? I think there's that much differentiation, but also keep in mind that the game is about bringing the right tool to the job. It's about understanding what heroes work best in what places and what strategy you want to use and how to accentuate that. So even though I said this at the very start of this video, people still hit me with this in the comments. They still... hit me with this crap in the comments. What's up, Mac? Thanks for the 10 months, dude.
What nerd made this trash tier list? LMAO.
Some scrub, but thanks, man. Yeah, so even though I said that, like, the game is about taking the right tools for the job, people still, like, showed up in my comments like, Shuff, you can't rate the characters individually because what really matters are the teams that you create with them. And it's like, yeah, no crap, dude. No crap. Try not to swear in my videos either. Yeah, YouTube comments are something else, dude. I'm compiling a list of them as time goes on, and I'll make a video about them at some point. Some indie YouTuber about an indie game. This is like 700 subscriber chef, dude. This is... I think I didn't have the... I don't know if I had this Blue Yeti mic yet. I think I still had a headset. I might have had the mic. I can't remember, but... oh well. Right, someone near the bottom, for instance, like if I say the Arbalest, you know... that could be technically a low-rated hero, but you could build your team to be really good for the Arbalest and then just have her dumpster everything. So it's more about overall strength and effectiveness, such as how many places they're good in, how many situations they're good in, and then how much help they need in order to perform well. And of course, for one thing, there are too many pauses that I don't cut out in this. And also, I kind of like fumble my words here and there. Like, I still do that, but I understand to cut that out now. The low-pitch voice. Yeah, I wasn't talking as loud. Young monotone. This is about 3 years ago at this point. The top of the tier list would actually be knowledge. That's what wins in Darkest Dungeon, is knowledge and understanding of what you're getting into and how to circumvent it and beat it. But knowledge doesn't have a hero icon, so we're just going to assume it's at the top in all of its glory. So we will be focusing on statistics such as hit points, speed, that kind of stuff. Oh my god. Their versatility. I had an I did this. I did text overlay. My god. My god. What are you doing? Stats, versatility, help needed, camp skills, trinkets, no doubles. This mattered. I still got comments about this. People be like, well, double shield breaker is very good. It's like, yeah, it is. So, oh man. How many things can they do? How well can they do them? From what space? How much help do they need to do those things? Their camping skills, their trinkets, because those are also important. And we're not considering doubles, so as in more than one of the same hero in a team. And we're not really considering Color of Madness because I feel that's more specialized thing, and I don't have that much experience with it, so I don't feel that I would have an accurate opinion. 3 years later. 3 years later, he still doesn't have experience with Endless Harvest. You miss Old Shuff? What was Old Shuff? Bad takes? Oh my goodness. Yeah, okay. So yeah, apparently I didn't know you could delete rows on Tier Maker at first. This is kind of like meh in terms of criteria. I did not play MILF Quiz! I've never done this! I think this will be more fun and suspenseful if we start from the bottom. So we're going to start the C tier, and we're going to start the worst character in the game, IMO. Of course, all of this is in my opinion, so I don't have to keep saying that every 2 seconds. It's the Antiquarian. Oh, you idiot! Oh, this hurts me. Can I stop, dude? Can I stop? Oh my god, this is painful. Boom. Yeah, it's a surprise of probably a few people, and then there's 1,000 people angrily hitting their keyboards going, she's the best character in the game, here's X, Y, and Z. That's actually not what happened. There's a lot of people that agreed with me. Hear me out. Right, so we're going with our framing, our criteria. She has very bad stats. She has low damage, low hit points. Dude, I was so bad at picture cropping. I'm still not good at it, but this looks like, for the time, like I was worse at editing and all that. So this was still actually kind of a big deal for me. Like I put effort into this, like cropping all these, but I definitely, like, you can see the text bleeding into the side here from the wiki. And then also talking about the stats, that's not usually too relevant outside of like a damage dealer or like Hellion's ridiculous defenses. Start the stream. I can't quit now. No, I want to quit this video already. I'm so embarrassed. Antiquarian is the worst combat character, but definitely not the worst character in the game. Okay, speed, and her gimmick is getting money, right? That's really helpful. She's good for, like, if you went by time in game, for the first maybe 50 or 60 weeks, she's definitely better than C, probably B. So it's pretty, I keep hearing, like, I just see the mistakes that I make in terms of like making videos. Like I don't chop out the big pauses and stuff like that. Like I'm not as good at delivering my message now. I take citrines. Oh my god, that's another mistake. Who is this man? But over time, depending on how long you're playing, and
no speed mods.
Blood Moon, not Blood Moon, but yeah, actually Blood Moon, Stygian, stuff like that. Anything with the time limit. So I don't know if you can tell here, but like in the background footage, it kind of blurs sometimes. That's partly because of my older computer, but also I didn't understand the proper way to do like bit rates and stuff yet. I was just like winging everything, so the video quality is a bit worse. Oh, Chef would keep the citrines. My god. Do a live. That's pretty much it. Had to restart your modded DD save. Got a trinket and loot from the old road. Ooh, cool. Her usefulness starts to fall off pretty quickly, and so her only really redeeming strategy is spamming dodge, lowering accuracy, those kinds of things. So with one, it's pretty hard to keep up with all of the debuffing and stuff. You can just spam the dodge vapors the whole time, but then you don't. Man, am I bad-mouthing flash powder indirectly, dude? You just flash powder like the size 2 or the most important target. You don't have to flash powder everything. Get to do other things like the supplemental healing or the blighting or the flash powder to lower their accuracy and things like that. So usually to make use of the dodge ability, what's the proper way of doing bitrate then? Depends on what kind of videos you're trying to do. If you're trying to stream 1080p, you need like 6,000, and if you're trying to record 1080, you need something else. I can't remember off the top. Going big boy since then. She does actually kind of fall off late game. Spamming and stuff like that, usually for money, not combat. They need another Antiquarian or someone else helping, so like a man-at-arms with bolster, things like that. So those things help, but you can just stack dodge trinkets and hit like invigorating vapors. You don't need like everyone contributing to it. Her best strategy, she can't really get off the ground too well by herself anyway, and you're trading too much in the way of offense in exchange for something like it's the equivalent of like a critical hit kind of build, if that makes sense, where a critical hit is a chance to do double damage, dodge is like a chance to take no damage, and they kind of almost go up around the same rate, you know, so you're getting about around 30% extra dodge. Most attacks, especially a champion and stuff like that, have minimum like 103 accuracy. So you could probably knock them down to maybe 65% accuracy, which is okay, but it's still... It's still too much RNG, and I feel this game is RNG, bro. I feel that it's banking on RNG strategies, especially in the harder difficulties and stuff like that, aren't as strong as something more consistent, such as damage over time builds and stuff like that. And so because her only good strategy needs help from other people, and then also every strategy needs help from everyone, it's a team game, the trade-off in offense and her bad defensive abilities, or her bad defensive stats, as well as her gold gimmick falling off at a certain point, because at some point you just don't need to buy upgrades anymore. That's why she's the worst. Her trinkets are okay. Before I talk about the trinkets, hold up, let me catch up here. Sorry I've been iron lately, good to catch you on the stream. What's up, dude? It's okay. I did 65 accuracy. Yeah, that's so weird, because like with dodge things, or dodge strats, like the thing... You really just need to have like 50% chance to be hit. It doesn't have to be like higher than that. That's usually enough. Make an apology video. That's kind of what this is. Kind of what this is right now. Pulling these numbers out of my butt. Your chat's really into old stuff, it seems. I don't know why. She has a couple pretty good ones, but they're not enough to make up for all of her other detriments. And her camp skills, like, none of them are like super combat focused, but dude, freaking Florin's really good. Master's Candle, her CC set are all really good. Like you can pull random trinkets, supply items. That is actually pretty helpful. Everything's just a way to save gold basically, or get more gold. And even though the trinket scrounge can sometimes high roll to something good, it's not consistent, but it's still something. And by the time you get to champion level, you're usually not wanting to take her. I feel like this is the class I struggle with the most to get to level 6. It's usually... Well, there you go. I struggle with the class. That's why my opinion's crap. I get through veteran, and then it's just like, I can't justify taking this class anymore. There's too much at stake. Or I need this, I need that, and I don't need the money that badly, like the extra 5,000 that I pulled just by bringing her. So that's why I feel like she's the worst character. The next one... Oh boy. Oh boy. I'm going to apologize to Grevik in advance, but it is in fact the Abomination. Okay, we got this one right. I'm sorry, Grevik. It comes down largely to the stress inflicted on the party, the solitary nature of the character, but that makes sense thematically, as well as the very odd ranks that he hits and occupies in battle. So there's a lot of good though. The base stats are pretty fantastic. He has one of the highest base HP totals for a DPS class character, so he's under the likes of the Leper and the Crusader, but he's still pretty tanky, pretty good defensively. His speed is tied for second among a bunch of others, only behind the Grave Robber, I believe, at 9, max of 9. And he's one of the... Dude, I say this ironically now when I say the class, I'm like the Grave Robber, the Leper and stuff. I just call them Leper and stuff now, but I'm saying like the class here. It's so weird. I have to say to my mod, I'm sorry, comrade. Those self-sufficient characters, so that's what I was saying before. He's solitary. He can manage his own stress. What is the setup here? Frickin' focus ring and necro collar? I'm just trying to bop everything. His own HP and stuff like that, but it's more, he doesn't synergize too well with most teams outside of maybe a Plague Doctor with a bunch of blight and stun spam, but that's about it. Build. Okay, got that one right. I mean, you can throw A-bomb on a lot of teams though, but like, he does have synergy with PD. But yeah, building and playing the Abomination follows this back and forth kind of thing of take it slow with stunning and blight and self-heal and stuff like that. Was that Crusader setup? I already roasted it. Also, look at this PD setup. We have the Aria box and then hulking out and going transform and then just beating the hell out of stuff. And so that's where teams can get tricky. I don't think I had broken key, but this setup's okay. Because you have to find something that can accommodate both playstyles, and then also you have to decide which one you're building for in terms of trinkets, because he gets access to all his skills. I'm sorry, who wants to badmouth that setup? Did you see that damage? all times, which is pretty cool. His camp skills mostly focus on himself. Dude, rip Gamepedia wiki. Stupid fandom. Which makes it a little difficult, but as I was saying, with his Jekyll and Hyde kind of build and his trinket selection, a lot of people are going to say, well, the transformation's okay and more manageable if you have the restraining padlock, the legendary one that lowers stress for transforming. And that's true, but you also have to remember that for every turn that he's not transformed, you basically aren't using a trinket, which feels kind of bad, and you could be doing other stuff, which is why I actually feel that his best trinket is the green one that gives him bonus stun and blight chance, because you spend most of the time in that mode.
Learn the
and
name,
then you
dude!
just give him one of those. If you really want to, some kind of accuracy booster for when he transforms, and he's definitely playable from that point. His Crimson Court set might simultaneously be bad, but then also good at the same time, because it covers both of his things. It covers if you're going to be spamming. The set together isn't great. The set individually is pretty good. Stun chain and blight and stuff like that, with the Osmond chain giving you a boost to that. But then also a minus to stress and a plus to dodge, all that's really good. And then the set bonus is if you transform, you get bonus damage for being in the first rank. So the whole playstyle is, as I was saying before, soften them up with some blight or some stun or whatever, and then transform and then start shredding them. You actually don't have to do that. You can just spam blight and stun the entire time, then like absolution, and then you transform when something needs to die quickly. I will say this is probably the best Shambler killing class, like the default. I stand by this. Some people try and come at me and say it's Highwayman, but I say it's still Abomination because of rake spam. Shambler, just because you can spam rake against all of the Clapper Claws and just whoop those in 2 turns every time unless he misses. And he controls that by himself. So usually if you're Shambler hunting, I think he's actually really good. But other than that, like I said, the stress damage, you could bring a Jester and all that stuff, or now you can bring a Crusader. That he would have actually been the worst character if he didn't lose the restriction to religious teammates. That actually made him a lot better. But the stress he inflicts on your team, it's not even himself, because he can lower his own stress pretty easily. It's the team stress that begins to actually suck. And the reason is, ow, stress is arguably more lethal than hit point damage, because stress can still kill you. We know that hit point damage can kill you quickly, obviously, but stress... What the hell am I saying? Stress damage, to deal with it, it takes time. It takes time outside of the dungeons. You have to place people in stress relieving activities. It costs money. It takes away from other stuff you could be doing with your money, like upgrades. And overall, the drain of resources that stress puts on you over just raw hit point damage makes someone that constantly puts stress down on the rest of your team, if you choose to use them that way, less appealing. And of course, you could just play it the way I normally do, which... Dude, I'm so glad I started shortening my videos. Which is, you just put on the padlock of transference and he's just a stun butt that sits up in the front row. But that's a good strat. Useful as that can be, it's not his strongest way to play. And yes, it is. And as I was saying before, you're really gimping your overall effectiveness by not using every tool at your disposal. So those two are at the bottom. We're going to move up to the next tier, the B tier. And the criteria for the B tier is... We already listed the criteria at the start of the video, so I don't know why we're going over it again. They're still a little more niche in terms of placement than A, a little less so than C. And they require the team to set them up so they can perform their best, or they have a skill set that does not allow them to go to certain areas. So this criteria really focuses my bias, because I do prefer like generalist classes over specific ones, and I'm really showing that here. Again, this is not in some specific order, this is just how it is in my notes. But starting us off in the B tier is going to be... I don't know if I was actually a Gestal main. Is lore citrine better? Lore because it's not citrines. You shuffle to use judgment? Probably. The shield breaker, class that I actually like a lot, but okay, I got this one like mega wrong. Sadly, I can't really justify putting her higher than this. There's a lot to say about her. I mean, you could even argue that she could be in the C tier, but I feel like once she gets higher level, and gets some of the gear that she needs, I feel that she actually becomes a better class. So it's kind of tough. She's kind of like in between. Like, she almost could be A tier when she has the right setup, and then she could be C tier most of the other time. So I feel that B's pretty appropriate. But she is really bad at low levels, especially with... This is true, but that's only level 0. Level 1, she's okay. Wait, why is this one? Where's Resolve 0, dude? Doesn't she have like 18 HP or something? 16 certain class trinkets. Usually if you're doing a Blood Moon run, she feels very vulnerable, especially early on. If you've ever watched Moon stream this game, Shield Breakers are the class I think he dies with the most, to the point where I'm surprised he still uses them. But the reason is, as I was saying before, she desperately needs some kind of hit point boosting trinket, like her special armor. But you cannot get that until Champion, and the only way... Man, that music's a bit loud. To get them is by subjecting your party to a mini boss battle with those stupid snakes, and the snakes are even a random chance, and they don't occur on boss battles, so there's no guarantee that you're... Rank 3 Crusader? Bruh, do not hate on the backline Renauld. You're gonna get them, and if you miss it at a lower level, I think you can get it at a higher level, so that means you're doing more high-level snakes, which is not good. And due to the inherently fragile nature of the class, even though she can defend herself with Serpent Sway, but the inherently fragile nature and the necessity of a trinket to potentially... Is that the birth of the Tempo Zap? I could have stunned too. Function effectively is a majority of the reason why she's near the bottom of the list. She's designed to be a frontline class because she has Serpent Sway, right? She has ways to defend herself, she can move in and out of combat. A lot of her best moves she has to be at the front of the line for. And then you tie that together with her inherent fragility. So like I was saying, her low HP, and it becomes dangerous. It is a dangerous class to use. As I was saying before, you can infinitely stall on the snakes. I didn't know this! I did not know this at the time. More characters in this tier usually need to have a team that can accommodate them. And so you have to have a team that can handle her moving back and forth between certain places. This is just showing I'm bad at dance teams back then, because this is a non-factor. It can capitalize on Blight, and then also, I should say her base speed's really good. I think it's up there. It's 9 at max, which is up there with everyone not named Grave Robber. So she's pretty fast. And because you need to use, I feel that you almost need to use her special armor to do her best. That armor reduces her speed by 2 at the cost of giving her 33% extra HP. I like that armor though, to be fair. So you take away her best facet, which is her speed, to give her something she already needs, and it feels like a tax to play the class, right? It feels like if you're gonna play the Shield Breaker, you need something like that. You could go in on damage and stuff like that, but as I was saying, it's dangerous, especially at higher levels when people start hitting for 12, 15, stuff like that, and leaving bleeds and stuff. So when she's only at 36 HP or whatever, without any of her other stuff, it's pretty easy for her to go down in 2 turns, and you don't want... This man is about to defend Grave Robber. In like an hour, he's gonna defend Grave Robber for this crap. Want that on your frontliners. And the last 2 points are, as I said before, it takes too long to get her rolling. You have to get her to champion, you have to get some higher level trinkets. That's when she's probably your best. And some of her other abilities do not get good until later on, like Impale. Impale is garbage when you start out, but when Impale can Blight, it gets okay. At level 5, Impale is actually really good because it hits pretty hard, all things considered, and it leaves behind Blight on everyone, which is never bad. Blight itself as a damage type usually does 1 or 2 points more than bleeds, but you can't use it as often, so usually bleed is the better damage over time effect in my opinion. And then we have to consider endgame scenarios. There's almost no worthwhile boss that I can think of that I want to take this character to. I don't want to... I'm bracing for impact, dude. I want to take her to the Darkest Dungeon. I don't want to take her into the Crimson Court. Okay, so she's good in the final levels, especially the first one. She's good against Garden Guardian. Maybe Baron too. I don't feel like she does enough damage for the other stuff, and then it is better to run something like a Flagellant against Countess though. But yeah, this is pretty bad. Take SB anywhere? Let SB take you anywhere. HP trinkets get given by accuracy trinkets being important. True. Yeah, Grave Robber goes into A in the next video. You're simping again? Yes. What's up, Fire? Been a few months since you caught a stream, but no school for now. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I was going to stream earlier too, but like I said, I got set behind. How old is the video? About 2.5 years. So there's a lot of just bad takes. I'm not saying that she can't succeed, but I don't want to take the Blight skill set into those places usually. And if you were to do that, I would suggest focusing more on her other strengths, because I have spent a couple minutes really tearing her down, but her strengths do exist. She does have ways to help boost party damage, like crit chance and stuff, de-stealth. Dude, I went from like praising Expose to talking crap about it back to liking it. What the hell? Very helpful. Her ability to maneuver the enemy all over the place with her pulls and stuff like that are really good. And finally, she has inherent armor pen, which is actually really good, because some of those protection values get up to like the 40s, 50s, depending on if they're buffing or not, and having someone that can go straight through it is really good. But in a lot of those cases, you could also just blight, and there are other characters that can do that, so Shieldbreaker finds herself decidedly in the B tier. Right before we go into the next one, I do need to add one last point. The Shieldbreaker camping skills, nothing to write home about, pretty underwhelming. Dedicated to herself mostly. Don't add too much, I'd rather spend the rest points on other stuff, so there's such a forgettable part of her that I forgot to even put it in her little review there. I only remembered after I was looking at another character. Oh man, we gotta be thorough, come on dude. And that character is actually the Arbalest, blam! Poor Arbalest, I really like this class. That's a lie, I hated that class. But back then, I like her now. The two biggest things with her, let's start with her pros, right? Very tanky for a backliner. I think the highest HP total for a backline character. Has some pretty solid support skills, like being able to lower enemy accuracy. Professional YouTuber? Not yet, I wasn't getting paid here. Accuracy, crit chance, stuff like that. She can mark to set herself up or other people. Has actually a pretty solid heal if you can use it more than one turn in a row, because it boosts healing receive, which is actually really nice. Her camp skills are fantastic. Her restring crossbow really boosts her damage. Why is this character in B, if I'm saying all this good stuff? Her ability to increase party speed is very helpful. And then she has emergency healing if you find yourself camping with someone, you know, like 10% is really good. And so her weaknesses really fall into her actual job, which is to snipe. It's supposed to be to high roll some crits, do some really good damage, pick off squishy targets in the back, which can be helpful. And it's tough for her to do this because she gets really screwed by positioning. She's kind of like a backline leper, if you think about it. She does a lot of damage. She's pretty slow, which means all of the quick backliners that you'd want to snipe. I know why I said that, but this is not like true. God, like I understand why I thought that, but that's not exactly it. Anyway, are going to go before you, so usually you want to stack surprise chance with her. And to get the most out of her abilities, you need to mark. Mark is sadly not an amazing game plan. It's of course viable. I don't think there's anything that's not viable than just normal leper in this game, unless it's outright stupid, like using your Crusader to solo heal, but all you have is Inspiring Cry or whatever, which is more of a stress heal than anything else. But the reason she's supposed to go slow is so someone else in the front, like your Bounty Hunter or your Houndmaster, can mark the target and then she can take him down. And in those situations, you're spending 2 turns to kill one enemy usually. Oh, the Markade. I love that this is coming out like right after I made that video. So let's look at this scenario. Hypothetically speaking, Turn 1, Bounty Hunter goes first, marks squishy target in the back, or in the 3rd rank or something. Then Arbalest snipes it, usually can one-shot from there even without a crit. And you spent 2 turns to kill one thing. Usually, unless that character's in rank 4, you could just hit it twice with each of those characters and also have killed it. And then, for instance, if you're trying to fight a boss, except for the point where Bounty Hunter can't hit rank 4 with his axe, a lot of bosses have multiple actions per turn, and Mark becomes way worse on any enemy that can act more than once in a turn because it takes away from the mark duration. And then finally, her damage is actually ass. She's supposed to be this heavy-hitting sniper or whatever, but she only does 7 to 14 damage at max rank, and for comparison, a lot of the other ones, like the Grave Robber and stuff like that, they do 7. Hold up, let me see this. Takes away from the mark duration, and then finally her damage is actually ass. Okay, she's supposed to be this heavy-hitting sniper or whatever, but she only does 7 to 14 damage at max rank, and for comparison, a lot of the other ones, like the Grave Robber and stuff like that, they do 7 to 13. So her biggest job of picking off stuff is inherently shafted by most boss mechanics, and the fact that her choice targets can usually be double tapped by a second person on the team anyway. You're more than welcome to all in and try and high roll with her, get 1 or 2 people. Old Shuff hated Arb, dude. People that can mark, give her a bunch of crit and damage, and then just try and chunk people. You can definitely do it, it works. But that game plan is not the most effective right now. So if you're bringing an Arbalest, I would suggest it on a mission that... This just really shows how crappy I was at playing mark teams. It requires camping to make good use for camp skills, but then also, then give her some of her support skills so she has some other effectiveness, so you're just not really banking on her to just sniper shot everything down. Her heal, like I said, is actually pretty good. So if you have another healer, or if you have another kind of weak healer that's not a main healer, you can have someone else there. This ain't even a mark team, dude. This is just me running Arbalest. This team sucks. They're helping out, and that's where she's actually pretty good. And she has some really good support skills, not just the healing, but the rallying flare, the ability to clear stun and mark specifically. She actually makes Swine Prince, or Swine God, or whatever, Swine King boss. She makes it the easiest fight possible. She can just sit back there and hit Rallying Flare every turn and just completely screw Wilbur and the Swine King out of decimating your party. She gets... Except when Arbalest gets marked, because she can't clear herself. It's dumpstered by positioning pretty hard, so she's like... So does Vestal, so does Leper, so does like a bunch of characters. There are less characters that can survive getting moved than there are characters that can deal with it, or they get dumpstered by it. The Leper, where if you knock her out of the back 2 rank, she just becomes really... Does Vestal have Wolf's Trinket? Bad. And thankfully she doesn't need a trinket to function well. It's not like the Shield Breaker where you need that. Am I in champion with level 4 gear on Shield Breaker, my god? Armor. Otherwise she's gonna be kinda eh. She has a lot of good trinkets. She has a really good early trinket that boosts her crit by 3%. I think... God, I was like, okay, did I get Medic Screes right? No, I didn't! The good early trinket's Medic Screes! Oh, you stupid dummy! Oh, Vengeful Greaves suck. Actually, they're not bad. They're just not that good. It used to be 1% and they buffed it. But she has some good trinkets that really help her out. Playing DD on Switch as you watch this? What's up, dude? How is it? Whatever you're trying to fill with her as a role. Her Keening Bolts from Color of Madness are really good. And then her Crimson Court set trinket is also fantastic. So she's really good on the equipment end, the stats end. I have not talked about suppressing fire because I didn't use it and I didn't understand it. I've only talked about 3 buttons. Sniper Shot, Bandage, and Flare. Outside of her damage. It's really just the fact that she's supposed to snipe things and kill them that way, and she's not incredibly effective at it. And the game also doesn't really accommodate that, considering the biggest threats have multiple turns, which destroy Mark. Oh god, stop it. That's why she's still near the bottom, sadly. Still one of my favorite classes though. Even if it's not the most optimal strategy, I do like bringing her places. I do like the satisfaction of... Did I gloss over for a sec? Okay, that's good. Of marking stuff and then having her shoot them. So there's definitely one of those cases where... I run this team still, like for fun, except I put Vestal in rank 2 to bonk. But this is actually a team I run. Fun kind of supersedes overall effectiveness. Coming up next, I will reiterate. Okay. Let's see. I gotta make some notes here. I'm gonna cut that. I'm gonna make these into smaller videos. This is where I'm gonna cut the first one, so just gonna make a timestamp here.